I was like, oh, सब तो बोल दिया, अब मैं क्या बोलूँगी? Okay, so basically when I joined the institute, I had very little clue about films. So I come from a family जहाँ पे मतलब पूरी जिंदगी ना एकेडमिक्स पढ़ाई 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 यही सुना था. और फिर जब इंस्टीट्यूट ज्वाइन किया ना, मेरे मम्मी पापा को पता था कि क्या करने वाली है इसके बाद, मतलब व्हाट इज गोना हैपन. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन लाइक, डू वी हैव टू गिव यू मनी टू मेक योर फिल्म्स? वी डोंट हैव मनी. आई सेड नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता है शायद. आई हैव टू फिगर. So that just like, so I knew that I wanted to tell stories. मुझे फिल्में बनानी है, लेकिन मुझे प्रोसेस के बारे में बहुत कम पता था. तो when I went to the institute, और जैसे धीरे धीरे क्लासेस शुरू हुई, like I met my batchmates और फिर seniors से मिली. I took a long time to figure like what is it exactly that is happening, because हम लोग के exercises होते थे जहाँ पे like I remember there was a professor who came and he took us to the mandi, sabji mandi, and then we came back and he said describe the place in sound and visuals and everything. So slowly that is how they were kind of making us understand that this medium is all about observing, it's about exploring yourself, it's about like lot of other things like memories हो गए, experiences हो गए. तो उसके बाद जो जितने सारी फिल्में देखी वहाँ पे जो मैंने कभी नहीं देखी थी, like the entire world cinema का जो एक exposure मिला, so that was also crazy. Like some of the films which I watched for the first time, I felt like the kind of rasas I have never felt in my life. It was like full of wonderment, and it was like still when I think about those moments, you get out of the theater and you talk it with your classmates and all, and especially seniors. So I miss those stuff now, because हम जो जिस तरह पे एक चीजें सोचते थे एक सिनेमा देख के, एक फिल्म देख के, वो आपकी कोई और से जब बात होती थी ना, they will give you a completely different perspective, and suddenly you will be like, oh my god, like really, like this also exists. So they will talk about the philosophy and stuff like that. So for me, almost for 3-4 months, it was like that. I was kind of exploring what exactly it is. फिर सबसे बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात तो ये हुई कि तो इंस्टीट्यूट आने से पहले तो मैंने भरतनाट्यम काफी सालों तक सीखा है. तो आई वॉज एक्चुअली परसुइंग आर्ट फॉर्म जिसमें एक जन ही एक आर्ट फॉर्म में मतलब जुड़े होते हैं. यू आर जस्ट वर्किंग ऑन योर सेल्फ एंड यू कैन बी बेटर एंड समथिंग. एंड सडनली आई वाज ट्राइंग टू लर्न समथिंग जहाँ पे मतलब 5-6-10 लोग साथ में कुछ बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. दैट एंटायर थिंग वाज so fascinating that someone is like, you are writing, then there's someone shooting, and then there's someone editing, there's someone is doing the sound. So many people, so many creative people coming together. Then the actors also, the kind of discussions that happen and all. So for me, it was initially very interesting, and it was also very complicated, because फिर मुझे पता चला कि like how do you deal with so many different layers while creating something which you all love so much together, so ऐसे तो काफी सारे महीने निकल गए इंस्टीट्यूट में धीरे धीरे एक्सप्लोर करते करते कि क्या है क्या ये चीज. आफ्टर आई फिनिश्ड मेकिंग माय फाइनल फिल्म आल्सो, आई वुड से that तब तक इतना समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि बोलना क्या है, like what is the kind of story, why do I want to make films, I think, and this is like a lifelong process, till date. Like I ask myself this question, like why did I get into this profession, what is it that I want to make, क्यों हूँ मैं एक filmmaker. So after coming from the institute, I think my journey has been that, and I think जो seed institute ने मतलब so हुआ था that it is like what is it that you want to create, like why, who are you as a person, what is it that influences you, what is it that you want to show the world, your perspective, developing that perspective. So I think ये जो journey है of self exploration, it started in the institute, and the fact that कि अलग-अलग लोगों के अलग-अलग perspectives हो सकते हैं, एक ही चीज देख के एक ही कहानी पे इतने सारे different perspectives हो सकते हैं, वो जो चीज एक समझ में आया ना, I think that I apply in life also. So I would say, yeah, institute like cinema is like, that's why it's like a reflection of life, and so for me, I think institute helped me do that, So yeah, and yeah, of course it's a fantastic place, like everything, whatever Jyoti, Neha and Ruben said, like we all feel like a family. Like you meet someone who's like 20-25 years difference ka senior, also you feel like we know them from somewhere. There's some sort of a lineage that comes each way to kind of fill in all the gaps. I was introducing myself that the first question my father asked me, that do I have to give you money to make your film after you finish? That is exactly I think what your parents are also asking. So, like Aruna ma'am said, see, the junoon is everything in this profession. Even when I come for orientation to the institute now, people, so you cannot feel insecure. What all? I think my voice is echoing. Is it? Oh no, it's fine. See what I feel now, like you have to focus on working on yourself, on your craft, and that is what is in your hands. The rest of it is like meeting the right people. If you are meeting the right people, learning the craft further after you finish the institute, you would reach somewhere. And honestly, when we passed out from the institute, things were, I think, more difficult. Right now, with the entire OTT platforms coming and lots of more commercials getting made, there's so much work in the industry. A lot of time, I have a problem getting people, assistants on my shoot, or even technicians for that matter. So there is a lot of demand for good talent. So I would say keep your fears aside, but you have to be very, very prepared. It's not an easy path for sure. Because, first of all, with art, it always would happen that you will write something, you might not find the people who would say good things about it. Everybody has a different perspective. Plus, it costs a lot of money, right? So you have to be prepared mentally for a long struggle. But all you can do is be sincere and be committed, and you have to be really consistent in your craft, in whatever you're practicing, your craft is. That is what I would say. And convincing your parents, I think if they see you are dedicated and they see you are convinced about it, you have to be convinced first, then you can convince someone else, वो जुनून होना चाहिए, वो यही है बस इस line में, I would say. I don't know what to exactly say. So basically, see, if you can start, if you want to just tell a story first, you can just start writing a story first of all, and there are so many people these days, they just shoot the story with their phones also. And it's about telling a story initially, it's not about what format, what camera, kya pe kya kar rahe ho. So you can even try it, editing it on your phone. I see so many people these days, they put on these small short films which are, done only on a phone. So you start off with that, first understand, okay, this is how it can be done perhaps, and then there are a lot of these tutorials also, just to understand the basics, so that to understand whether you are interested in it or not. You could start off with that perhaps. And jahan tak networking ki baat aati hai na, you all have been mentioning this a lot. See, honestly, when we started, there was no social media, there was very little social media, logo ko milna, it was a very big deal, cinema, the kaun kya bana. Abhi, there are so many pages on Facebook through which you can actually get in touch with people, and see, it's not going to be easy. That is one thing. You have to be really consistent, and if you think it is easy for us because we come from the institute and we have a network, it is not. You have to be consistent, and you have to be really figuring out what exactly you want to do, meet the right people. वो करते करते एक time आएगा when you would figure it all out, most of it. So I would say right now, don't think much of the networking part of it. पहले ये read good books, write your own story, लिखने की कोशिश करो, तो उससे समझ में आएगा बहुत सारी चीजें, one step at a time. I would give you an example of this lady who comes from Assam, Reema Das. A lot of people, she has become so famous now because she learned everything on through all these YouTube channels, and she picked up the camera, and she might not have succeeded the very first time she picked up the camera or she started editing, right? So wherever it is, be it the institute, be it doing it at home, self-learning it, the key word is consistency. You cannot lose interest if you're failing in the first attempt or the second attempt or the third attempt, because institute mein abhi itna easy nahi hoga. To actually work with 4-5 people, एक editor, एक director, एक camera person, sound, actors, it's a very complicated art form. So one step at a time. Networking can happen, but it is it shouldn't bother you right now. First, craft aata hai apna. Don't pay too much attention on what people are talking about these trends and all of that. These don't come from any, source which you can trust. I would this is advice for everyone. I think just focus on yourself. If you want to be a filmmaker, just work on your craft, work on yourself. What do you want to eventually do? Why do you want to come to FTI? Ask these questions rather than, you can see, because there are such legends that have come out of the space. and there's a reason why you want to apply to this institute. There's a reason you have actually spared 2 hours in the evening to come and listen to us. And we all also, there's a reason, when I also started off कि मुझे institute क्यों जाना है, ये सारे questions पे गौर करना चाहिए और क्यों आना है, क्या बनना है, क्या बनाना है. I think that is what we all should focus as creative people. That would be better rather than wasting your energy thinking about these things. And I can assure you, a lot of my batchmates, seniors, juniors, are doing some wonderful work, not only in the art house but in commercial space also. So abhi, with the OTT opening up, there is a lot of opportunities for us, and it's a great time for everyone, all creative people. So yeah, that I can assure you.